I came home early that night, hoping to surprise Sophia with dinner. The house smelled of her perfume, faint and familiar. I was about to call her name when I heard her voice drifting from the living room, soft, almost playful. "Yes, Daniel, I know. I miss you too." My heart froze. "Daniel." I stepped closer, pressing myself against the wall so she wouldn't see me. Her laughter rang out light, carefree, the kind she hadn't shared with me in months. "I should have never married him. He's stable, yes, but so dull. You always understood me better." The words sliced through me. I couldn't breathe. My chest tightened, and for a moment, I thought I'd collapse. Daniel's voice echoed faintly through the speakerphone. "Then leave him, Sophia. You know we belong together." Sophia sighed, almost dreamily. "I will. He won't fight it. He's too weak for that." Something inside me snapped. I pushed the door open. Her eyes widened when she saw me standing there. "You're home early." I stared at her, my voice trembling. "Who were you talking to?" She hesitated, then smirked faintly. "You heard." I clenched my fists. "After everything I've done for you. You're cheating on me." "With him." "It's not cheating if my heart was never yours," she shot back. The room spun around me. "Never mine. We've been married 3 years, Sophia." "Yes, 3 wasted years," she snapped. "Do you think love is enough? You work like a slave, and what do I get? Boring nights, predictable dinners, and a husband who has no ambition beyond stability." Her words burned like acid. "So Daniel is what?" "Your salvation." She crossed her arms. "Daniel is passion. Daniel is power. He makes me feel alive. You make me feel trapped." I stepped closer, my voice breaking. "I loved you. I gave you everything, every piece of me." "Love doesn't pay for dreams," she hissed. "Daniel can give me what you never could." My vision blurred with rage and despair. "So that's it. You throw me away like I'm nothing." She didn't even flinch. "You were a chapter, not the story." "He's the story." I staggered back. "You're killing me, Sophia." She shrugged coldly. "Then die quietly. Don't make this harder than it has to be." My throat tightened. "Does he know you're this cruel?" Her eyes softened for a second, but then hardened again. "Daniel knows who I am, and he accepts it. Unlike you." I laughed bitterly, the sound hollow. "I accepted you more than anyone ever would, and you chose him anyway." Her lips curved into a cruel smile. "Because he's better." For a moment, silence stretched between us. The weight of her betrayal pressed down on me, until I could barely stand. Finally, I whispered, "Then I hope he destroys you." Her eyes widened, but I didn't wait for a reply. I turned and walked toward the door. Behind me, her voice echoed. "You'll regret leaving me." I stopped, my hand on the doorknob. "No, Sophia. I regret ever loving you." The door slammed behind me, and the sound rang in my ears like a final nail in a coffin. I stumbled into the night, the cool air biting my skin. My chest ached as if my ribs were breaking one by one. I wanted to scream, but the streets were quiet, uncaring. Every step felt heavier, every breath sharper. I replayed her words over and over. "You were a chapter, not the story." My phone buzzed. A message. From her, "Don't come back. Daniel's picking me up tomorrow. Papers will follow." My vision blurred with tears, but I forced my fingers to type a single reply. "Do whatever you want. You've already killed me tonight." I tossed the phone into my pocket and kept walking. The city lights blurred through the haze of tears. I had no destination, just the raw, unbearable truth pressing against my heart. The woman I trusted most had betrayed me for the man I despised, and in that moment, as pain hollowed me out, I swore silently. One day, I would make them both regret it. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the untouched dinner I had cooked hours ago. Sophia walked in, her heels clicking against the floor, her phone still in her hand. She didn't even look at me. "We need to talk." My chest tightened. "About Daniel?" She smirked. "So you finally admit you heard everything?" "I don't need to admit anything," I muttered. "I heard enough." She set her phone down, folding her arms. Then let me make it simple. I'm filing for divorce. The words hit harder than I expected. Just like that. After everything we've been through. It's not about what we've been through, she said sharply. It's about where I'm going. Daniel offered me vice president. Do you understand what that means? Power, status, a future. My jaw clenched. And I'm what? Dead weight. Her eyes narrowed. You're plain, predictable. Safe, maybe. But safe doesn't get me anywhere. You'll never make it big. I felt my fists shaking on the table. So you're trading vows for a corner office. She tilted her head. Don't make it sound ugly. Daniel sees my worth. He gives me what you can't. And what exactly is that? I asked bitterly. She leaned closer, her voice low and cruel. Ambition, drive, fire. You think working long hours and paying bills makes you a man. It makes you a worker bee. Daniel is a king. I pushed my chair back, the legs scraping the floor. And you think he won't use you and toss you aside? Her laugh was sharp. At least he'll use me to climb higher. You keep me stuck in the same place. My throat tightened, but I forced the words out. I gave you love, Sophia, she sneered. Love. Love doesn't buy influence. Love doesn't open doors. You can keep your lover. Take my chances with him. I stared at her, my chest burning. You're not even ashamed, are you? Why should I be? She shot back. You were a stepping stone. Be grateful I stayed this long. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. My world spun, every word stabbing deeper. Finally, I whispered, You're not the woman I married. She shrugged. Maybe I never was. I swallowed hard, fighting the scream clawing at my throat. My voice cracked. Then this is goodbye. Good, she said coldly. Make it easy. Don't drag this out. I looked at her one last time. Her eyes were sharp, unyielding, filled with a hunger I never recognized before. Someday, I said, my voice low, you'll realize what you threw away. She smirked again. Or maybe someday you'll realize you were never enough. The silence that followed was unbearable. I couldn't stand another second in that house. I walked to the bedroom, pulled out a suitcase, and stuffed it with clothes. My hands shook as I zipped it shut. From the doorway, she watched, arms crossed. See, you know when to quit. That's what I always liked about you. You don't fight. I glared at her. Maybe one day I will. She rolled her eyes. Don't make promises you can't keep. I grabbed the suitcase and brushed past her. Her perfume lingered in the air, mocking me. At the door, I paused, staring at the life I had built with Hertha-framed photos. The couch where we once laughed, the kitchen where I cooked her favorite meals, all poisoned now. Goodbye, Sophia, I said quietly. She didn't answer. The door clicked shut behind me, and the cold night swallowed me whole. I walked down the street, each step heavier than the last. My heart felt like shattered glass cutting into my chest. On the outside, I kept my silence, but inside, I screamed until my soul was raw. The knife in my back twisted deeper with every breath. The bottle clinked against the table as I set it down, half empty, maybe more. My throat burned from the whiskey, but the pain dulled the one inside my chest. I slumped on the couch, staring at the ceiling, waiting for sleep that never came. A knock rattled the door. I ignored it. Another knock, louder this time. Open the damn door. A familiar voice growled. I dragged myself up, stumbled forward, and pulled it open. Marcus stood there, arms crossed, eyes narrowing as he looked me over. You look like hell, he muttered, stepping inside without waiting for permission. I dropped back onto the couch. Perfect. I feel like hell. His gaze fell on the bottles scattered around. So, this is your plan. Drink yourself into the grave, while Sophia and Daniel laugh their asses off. I rubbed my face. Don't say their names, they're already saying yours, he shot back. Probably calling you pathetic while they toast with champagne. My hands curled into fists. What do you want me to do, Marcus? Pretend it didn't happen? She left me for him. My wife chose him. What's left of me now? He grabbed one of the bottles and slammed it into the trash. You You're left. And whether you like it or not, you're worth more than her betrayal. I laughed bitterly. Worth more? To who? She said, I'd never make it big. Maybe she's right. He leaned forward, his voice sharp. She's wrong. She's blind. You've got more in you than both of them combined, but you're too busy drowning to see it. I shook my head. I can't fight them. Daniel's got power. Sophia's got ambition. What do I have? Marcus's eyes locked onto mine. Fire. You just don't know it yet, I scoffed. Fire. I feel like ash. Then rise, he said firmly. You either let this destroy you, or you rise and destroy them. The words hit me like a hammer. I stared at him, searching his face for doubt, but he didn't flinch. You don't understand, I whispered. She wasn't just my wife, she was everything. And now I'm nothing. He shook his head. No, you're something. You're the man who built himself from nothing once already. Don't tell me you can't do it again. The difference now? You've got a reason. Anger simmered under my skin, battling the despair. A reason? Marcus leaned back. Revenge. Justice. Call it whatever you want. But you can't let them win. Not like this. I swallowed hard, his words clawing at the wall I'd built around my pain. What if I fail? I asked quietly. Then fail fighting, he snapped. Not drinking yourself to death in a room that stinks of regret. The silence stretched, broken only by the faint hum of the fridge. My chest rose and fell, heavier with every breath. Finally, I whispered, what if I try? Marcus smirked. Then you'll burn brighter than they ever imagined. I stared at the shattered glass on the floor, the spilled whiskey soaking into the carpet. A mess, just like me. But maybe messes could be cleaned. Slowly. I stood. My legs trembled, but I faced him. Where do I even start? His eyes softened for the first time that night. Start by living. Sober up. Get back on your feet, and then. We plan. I let out a shaky breath. And Sophia, Daniel. Marcus's smirk widened into something almost dangerous. They'll never see it coming. A flicker of something, anger, determination, maybe both ignited in my chest. Small, but real, I met his gaze. No more whiskey. Good, he said, kicking another bottle into the trash. Because the next drink you take should be when you're toasting to their downfall. For the first time since Sophia shattered me, I felt a spark of life. A tiny flame where only ash had been. And in that moment, I swore I wouldn't beg, I wouldn't cry, would rise. Marcus pushed a folder across the cafe table. Read it. I opened it, skimming the first page. Numbers, stock percentages, company details. What is this? He leaned back. An opportunity. My uncle's unloading his shares. Big company. Solid profits. I frowned. Marcus, I don't care about investing right now. I'm barely holding myself together. You will care, he said firmly. Check the company name. I scanned the document again. My breath caught. You've got to be kidding me. Marcus smirked. Oh, I'm not. That's Daniel's company. The irony hit me like a punch. My hands tightened on the folder. You knew? Of course, I knew. Why do you think I brought it to you? You want revenge. This is your door. I shook my head. I don't have that kind of money. Marcus leaned in. You have some. I'll cover the rest. My uncle trusts me, and, if I tell him you've got potential, he'll trust you too. I let out a bitter laugh. Why would he trust me? Because you're hungry, Marcus said, and he respects hunger. A few days later, I sat across from Mr. Carter in his office. He was older, sharp-eyed, the kind of man who weighed every word like it cost him something. He tapped his pen against the contract. So, you want in? I nodded. I do. Why? His voice was blunt, testing. I forced myself to hold his gaze. Because I won't stay small forever. His lips twitched, almost a smile. Ambition, good, but ambition without discipline is suicide. Can you handle pressure? I clenched my fists under the table. Pressure's all I've got left. He studied me for a long moment. You've been burned recently. My chest tightened, but I didn't flinch. And fire forges steel. This time, he did smile. Marcus was right. You're not afraid to bleed. He slid the papers toward me. Sign, and you'll own controlling shares. I stared at the stack. Just like that. Nothing is just like that, he said. This will cost you money, time, sanity. But it will also give you something most men never touch. The question is whether you're willing to pay the price. My pen hovered over the page. Images of Sophia and Daniel flashed in my mind, her smirk, his smug face. My grip tightened. I'm willing, I said. And I signed. Mr. Carter leaned back, satisfied. Then welcome to the boardroom. Don't waste it. Walking out of that office, Marcus clapped my shoulder. How's it feel? My voice was low, steady. Like I finally stopped being prey. He grinned. Good. Now let's see how the hunters like being hunted. That night, alone in my apartment, I stared at the signed documents. The company seal glinted under the lamp. Daniel thought he owned the world. Sophia thought I'd never make it big. They were both wrong. I touched the papers and whispered to myself, I won't just watch karma. I'll become karma. The ballroom glittered with chandeliers, the kind of place where power showed itself in champagne glasses and fake smiles. I stood near the edge, unnoticed, watching. Sophia's laughter cut through the music first. She floated across the room on Daniel's arm, her eyes shining. Her lips painted in the same shade I once kissed 1,000 times. Daniel raised his glass. To new beginnings, he boomed, his voice carrying across the crowd. People clapped. Sophia leaned in, kissed his cheek, and whispered something that made him smirk. I couldn't hear her words, but I didn't need to. Her body language said enough. She had chosen her stage, and he was her crown. I turned to leave when her voice carried, sharp and deliberate. He's nothing but a shadow now. My chest tightened. She wanted me to hear. Daniel laughed, pressing his lips against her hand. Let him fade. We don't look back. A couple nearby chuckled, whispering behind their glasses. Their amusement fed Sophia's arrogance. I clenched my jaw, forcing myself to stay still. My nails dug into my palm. Marcus slid up beside me, his voice low. You good? I didn't look at him. No, he followed my gaze. Ah, the royal couple, I muttered. She's wearing the dress I bought her. He smirked. At least, she's recycling. I wanted to laugh, but my throat burned. They think they've won. Let them. Marcus said calmly. Nothing tastes sweeter than victory before it rots. I took a shaky breath. He kissed her hand like she was a prize. Marcus's eyes narrowed. That's all she is to him. A prize. A trophy to flash while he climbs higher. Trust me, he's not kissing her hand for love, he's kissing it for power. I finally looked at him, and she doesn't see it. She doesn't want to, Marcus replied. People like her. They see only what flatters them. Across the room, Daniel raised his voice again. This company, our company, has a bright future, and with Sophia by my side, nothing will stop us. Applause filled the room. Sophia clung to him tighter, her smile radiant. I whispered under my breath, You'll choke on those words. Marcus caught it, smirking. Now that's the fire I wanted to hear. Sophia's gaze swept the room, and for a moment, it landed on me. Her smile faltered. I met her eyes, steady and cold. She expected shame, maybe defeat. Instead, I gave her silence. Daniel noticed her distraction. What is it? Nothing, she said quickly, but her voice wavered. He glanced around and spotted me too. His smirk grew. Ah, the ex. Brave enough to show his face. I didn't move. He raised his glass, toward me mockingly. 2 lessons learned. Some men win, some men lose. The crowd laughed. Sophia joined in, though her eyes lingered on me with something almost uneasy. Marcus muttered, Say the word and I'll wipe that smirk off his face. No, I said quietly. Not yet, he studied me. You sure? That was brutal. I exhaled slowly. Let them have their sweet victory. It won't last. The music swelled, people cheered, and Sophia leaned in to whisper in Daniel's ear. He laughed again, loud and confident. I clenched my jaw, holding the rage inside. Every second burned, but I didn't move. I wanted them to laugh. I wanted them to think they had won, because the higher they climbed, the harder the fall would be. I turned to Marcus. "Let's go." He nodded. Finally, as we walked out of the glittering hall, I didn't look back. Their laughter echoed behind me, sharp and cruel, but I carried something stronger than their mockery. I carried the fire of patience, and I knew their victory would turn to ashes. The polished floors of the headquarters reflected my every step. I felt the weight of the moment pressing down, but it wasn't fear, it was power settling into place. "Sir, the boardroom is ready," the receptionist said politely. Not recognizing me. "Good," I replied, keeping my tone calm as I walked past rows of cubicles. Daniel's voice cut through the chatter, loud, arrogant, self-satisfied. "Promotion at last," he announced to a cluster of employees. "Vice President, the youngest this company has ever had." They clapped. He soaked it in, puffing his chest. "Stick close to me," he added with a smirk. "When I'm CEO, I'll remember who applauded." The employees laughed nervously. I kept walking, unnoticed, my lips curving at the irony. In the boardroom, the directors gathered. Papers shuffled, whispers filled the air. The chairman cleared his throat. "Before we begin, our new majority shareholder will be joining us today." The doors opened. Every head turned as I stepped inside. Daniel froze mid-sentence, the color draining from his face. Sophia, standing beside him, blinked like she'd seen a ghost. I smiled. "Good morning." The chairman rose. "Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce." I raised a hand. "No need, they already know me." A thick silence spread. I walked to the head of the table, every step deliberate. Daniel finally found his voice. "What the hell are you doing here?" Taking my seat, I said calmly, pulling out the chair. "You don't belong here," he snapped. "This is a board meeting." Sophia's voice was sharper. How is this possible?" I met her eyes briefly, then looked around the room. "From today," I said, letting the words land slowly, "I own this company." Gasps broke out. The directors exchanged wide-eyed glances. Daniel slammed his fist on the table. "Lies. He's bluffing." The chairman cleared his throat, sliding a folder forward. "It's true. The transfer of shares was finalized this morning. He now holds controlling interest." Daniel snatched the papers, flipping them wildly. His hands trembled. No, this can't." Sophia leaned closer to him. "Tell me this is a mistake." I rested my palms on the table, leaning slightly forward. "No mistake. You worked hard to climb, Daniel. But I built the ladder you're standing on." His face reddened. "You set me up." I shrugged. "No. You set yourself up. I just arrived in time to watch." Sophia's voice cracked. "You ruined everything." I smirked. "Correction, you ruined everything when you chose him over me." The room was frozen, the directors caught between shock and fascination. Daniel pushed back from his chair. "You can't just walk in and take what's mine." "It was never yours," I replied smoothly. "You were just keeping the seat warm," Sophia snapped. "You're pathetic." "This is revenge, isn't it?" I looked at her steadily. "No. This is balance." Marcus, sitting quietly at the far end, finally spoke up. "Gentlemen, shall we proceed with business? Or should we let Daniel continue his tantrum?" Laughter rippled through the boardroom. Daniel's face twisted with humiliation. "You think this changes anything?" He barked at me. "You don't belong in this world. You're nothing compared to me." I leaned back in my chair. "Funny. From where I'm sitting, you work for me now." The words landed like a hammer. Even Sophia's breath hitched. One of the directors spoke cautiously. "Mr. Daniel, I suggest you lower your tone. The new owner deserves respect." Daniel turned on him. "Shut up. Do you know who I am?" "Yes." I cut in. "You're the man who thought he had everything, and now, you're the man who has to answer to me." The room fell silent again. Sophia gripped Daniel's arm, whispering fiercely, "Calm down. Don't make it worse." He shook her off. "I won't bow to him." I smiled faintly. "Then you'll break." The chairman cleared his throat again. "Shall we continue with the agenda?" "Yes," I said firmly. "Let's begin. There's much work to do, and I won't waste company time on personal drama." Sophia's glare burned into me, but I ignored it. Daniel sank back into his chair, seething, powerless. I looked around the table, my voice steady. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the new era of this company. Under my leadership, things will change. Efficiency, integrity, and results will define us." A murmur of approval spread. The directors nodded. I ended with a calm smile. "From today, I own this company, and I intend to make it stronger than ever." The words echoed in the room like a verdict. Daniel stared at me, his jaw tight, his pride shattered. Sophia's hand slipped from his arm, her confidence fading. And for the first time in a long while, I felt whole again. The boardroom buzzed with tension as I laid out the restructuring plan. Charts, numbers, and deadlines covered the screen behind me. "Departments will be audited," I said firmly. "Every project will be reviewed. No exceptions." Daniel shifted in his seat, his forehead damp. "That's unnecessary micromanagement," he muttered. I leaned back, meeting his glare. "It's accountability. If you can't deliver, you'll have nothing to fear, right?" His jaw clenched, but he stayed quiet. Emily, my new assistant, tapped her pen against the folder in front of her. "I'll coordinate reports from each department and compile results weekly." I nodded. "Good. Keep me updated directly." The directors exchanged looks. Some approved, others looked uneasy, but none challenged me openly. After the meeting, Daniel cornered me in the hallway. "You're humiliating me," he hissed. I folded my arms. "No. You're humiliating yourself. I'm just letting the truth show. You think you've won." His voice cracked with anger. "Sophia and I stop." I cut him off sharply. "Your personal life doesn't interest me. Your performance does. Prove yourself, or step aside." He stormed off, muttering curses. Emily appeared at my side, her expression calm but sharp. "He's crumbling." "Yes," I said quietly, "and I want everyone to see it happen." Later that week, Sophia walked into my office without knocking. She wore the same perfume I once bought her. "I wanted to talk," she said softly. I didn't look up from my papers. "About what?" "Divorce, business, or regret?" Her eyes glistened. "I made a mistake." I raised my head slowly. "Did you?" "I thought Daniel could give me more. I thought I needed him. But he's not what I imagined." I let silence stretch between us. Finally, I said, "You're right. He isn't what you imagined. He's worse." She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "You still care. I can see it in your eyes." I laughed bitterly. "Care? I cared once. Enough to die for you. But that man is gone." Her face crumpled. "Please, don't be so cold." I stood. "Look at me, Sophia. Do you see the man you betrayed? Or do you see the man who now owns everything you thought you wanted?" She flinched. "You're cruel." "No," I said, my tone flat. "You taught me cruelty." Emily appeared at the door just then, holding a stack of reports. "Sorry to interrupt. The board wants your approval on these." I glanced at Sophia. "This conversation is over." Sophia's lips trembled before she stormed out. Emily raised a brow once the door shut. "She's trying to crawl back." "She'll find nothing here," I replied. 2 weeks later, the cracks in Daniel's facade widened. During another board meeting, a director spoke up. "Mr. Daniel, your department missed its targets by 15%. Do you have an explanation?" Daniel stammered, flipping through his notes. "It's a temporary setback. We'll recover next quarter." Emily whispered near me. "He has no plan." I asked plainly, "How much have we lost because of his delays?" The director checked the report. "Nearly 2 million. Murmurs rippled around the table. I kept my eyes on Daniel. "Unacceptable. Fix it, or step down." He slammed the table. "You're setting me up to fail." I leaned forward. "No, Daniel. I gave you rope. You chose to hang yourself." The room fell silent. His rage burned, but he couldn't answer. Later that evening, Emily and I reviewed files in my office. She shook her head. "He won't last another month at this rate. Everyone's losing faith." "That's the point," I said. "His downfall should be his own doing, not mine. I want it undeniable." She studied me quietly. "You're patient. Too patient for someone carrying that much hurt." I closed the folder. Patience is the sharpest blade. The slower the cut, the deeper it bleeds. Emily nodded. "Then let him bleed." One night, as I left the building, I heard a familiar voice behind me. "You'll regret this," Sophia whispered. She stood in the shadows, her face pale. I turned. "What will I regret? Not saving you? Not saving him." She swallowed hard. "Destroying us both." I stepped closer. "You destroyed us the day you chose him. I'm just finishing what you started." Her eyes filled with tears, but I walked away without looking back. Inside, my chest burned. Her words still cut, though I pretended they didn't. But the anger kept me steady, and Emily's quiet loyalty gave me strength. Their paradise was cracking, and I wasn't done yet. The boardroom was tense, but not with the usual corporate tension. This time, it was something heavier, like the air before a storm. I stood at the head of the table. Papers spread out in front of me. Emily sat at my side. As ever, though her eyes betrayed a flicker of satisfaction. "Ladies and gentlemen," I began, "before we discuss quarterly reports, there's another matter we must address." Daniel scoffed. "More of your theatrics." I ignored him. A major deal with our overseas partners was nearly destroyed. Someone inside this company attempted to sabotage the negotiation. The directors stiffened, whispering among themselves. Daniel leaned back with a smirk. "And who would be stupid enough to do that?" I held up a folder. "You." The room froze. Daniel laughed nervously. "Ridiculous. You're fabricating lies to smear me." I opened the folder, sliding out documents and emails. "Emails from your account. Instructions to delay shipments. False numbers sent to our partners. Do you deny these are yours?" His eyes darted across the table. "Anyone could have hacked my account." Emily spoke crisply. "The IT department confirmed the login came from your office computer. Your personal password was used." One director frowned. "Daniel, is this true?" Daniel slammed his palm on the table. "You think I'd risk everything? This is a setup." I leaned forward. "A setup? No, Daniel. It's exposure. You gambled, and you lost." Sophia, seated near the end, stood abruptly. "This is outrageous. Daniel has given everything to this company. You're trying to ruin him because of some personal vendetta." I turned to her, my voice calm. "Sophia, you're welcome to accuse me, but the facts don't bend for your comfort," she glared. "You've been waiting for this moment. Admit it." I met her eyes. "Yes, I waited. Not to fabricate lies, but to let the truth destroy him." The chairman cleared his throat, his voice grave. "The evidence is overwhelming. This act endangered our reputation and nearly cost us millions." Daniel's face turned red, sweat glistening on his forehead. "You can't do this to me. I'm vice president. I'm irreplaceable." Another director leaned forward coldly. "No one is irreplaceable, Daniel." Emily slid another paper across the table. "Our overseas partners have already confirmed they received the false numbers directly from his email. They nearly cancelled the deal." Gasps rippled across the room. I let the silence drag before speaking. "Do you deny sending them?" Daniel's voice cracked. I was trying to buy time. To prove myself, I cut him off. "So you admit it?" The room erupted in whispers. Sophia grabbed his arm. "Stop talking," but it was too late. His confession hung heavy in the air. The chairman's voice hardened. "This is grounds for immediate termination." Security. 2 guards entered the room. Daniel's eyes widened in panic. "No, you can't." I built this company's success. I shook my head slowly. No, Daniel. You built illusions. Now they're gone. The guards seized his arms. He thrashed wildly, his voice cracking with desperation. Sophia, do something. Tell them I'm right. Her face was pale, her lips trembling. Daniel, say something, he shouted. She turned to the board. You can't throw him out like this. He was misled. One director cut her off coldly. Enough, Mrs. Sophia. You once mocked us, remember? You called us dead weight at last year's gala. And now you expect our sympathy. Her mouth opened, then closed. Another director added, we supported you when you married him. We gave him chances, but now? No more. Her voice wavered. I only wanted security. The chairman shook his head. You wanted power? And now both are gone. Daniel screamed as the guards dragged him toward the door. This isn't over. You'll regret this. All of you. His voice echoed down the hallway before fading into nothing. Sophia collapsed into her chair, her face burning with humiliation. I looked at her, my voice low but sharp. This is the man you chose over me. The man you believed in more than me. Tell me, Sophia, was it worth it? Tears welled in her eyes. I didn't know. I leaned closer. No, you knew. You just didn't care. The boardroom fell into a suffocating silence. Directors avoided her eyes. Emily quietly gathered the documents, her expression unreadable. Sophia whispered, almost to herself, everything's gone. I straightened, my voice calm. Yes, paradise doesn't last when it's built on betrayal. No one spoke after that. The meeting resumed, but Sophia sat frozen, her world collapsing around her, and I finally felt the weight lift from my chest. She stood at the doorway of my office, her hands trembling against the frame. Can I come in? Sophia's voice was faint, almost broken. I closed the folder in front of me. Why? Her eyes glistened. Because I need to say this face to face. I gestured toward the chair. Sit. Then, she walked slowly, like every step drained her. When she sat, she didn't look at me, just at her hands. I chose wrong, she whispered. I leaned back in my chair. You figured that out now. Her head snapped up, tears spilling. Don't mock me, please. I only ever wanted security. I laughed bitterly. Security? You had it with me? A home, loyalty. My entire heart. But you wanted more, didn't you? Her voice cracked. I thought Daniel would give me stability, power. I thought he'd protect me. And what did he give you? I asked quietly, her lips trembled. Shame, nothing but shame. Silence stretched between us. I could hear my own heartbeat pounding. For a moment, the ghost of the love I once felt stirred in my chest. You know? I said slowly. There was a time I would have given my life just to see you smile. Every sacrifice I made, it was for you. I know, she whispered. I see it now. Too late. I clenched my jaw. Do you have any idea what it felt like? To hear you say I was plain. That I'd never make it big. To know you laughed about me in another man's arms. Her tears fell harder. I was wrong. I was blind. I thought I was choosing the smarter path. No, I said coldly. You weren't blind. You were greedy. She reached across the desk, her fingers brushing the edge. I don't want your money. I don't want your company. I just want you to look at me again. Not like this. Not like I'm a stranger. I stared at her hand. Once, I would have taken it without hesitation. Now, it looked foreign to me. You are a stranger, I said quietly. Her body shook. Please, don't say that. Don't erase everything we had. I stood, my chair scraping softly against the floor. Everything we had. You erased it the moment you chose him. She rose to her feet, desperate. I can change. I can prove. I shook my head. You can't undo betrayal. You can't unbreak a heart. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Then what do you want me to do? I looked at her for a long moment. The memories of our laughter, our nights together, our dreams, they all rushed back. But so did the sleepless nights. The bottles of whiskey. The broken pieces of myself I had to rebuild alone. Finally, I said softly, live with your choice. That's all that's left for you now. Her breath hitched. And us? There is no us, I said. Not anymore. She staggered back like I'd struck her. Tears streamed down her face, but I felt no urge to wipe them away. You're cruel, she whispered. No, I said firmly. I'm done being kind to people who don't deserve it. She covered her mouth, sobbing quietly. For a moment, I almost felt pity. Almost. Goodbye. Sophia, I said. Her eyes searched mine desperately. But I gave her nothing, no warmth, no softness. Only silence. I walked past her and out of the office, leaving her in the ruins of her regret. And for the first time, I didn't look back. The city stretched out before me, its lights flickering like stars scattered on earth. I pressed a hand against the glass window of my office, letting the silence sink in. For the first time in years, it felt like mine. Still working? Emily's voice carried from the doorway. I turned. Not working. Just thinking. She walked in, arms crossed. Dangerous habit. Usually means you're about to pull off something insane. I smirked. Not this time. No revenge left to plan. No battles left to fight. Her brow lifted. So what's next then? You finally going to breathe? I chuckled. I think I already am. Feels strange. Like I've been underwater for years, and now? Air. Emily leaned against the desk. You deserve it. After everything, do I? I asked softly. She frowned. Why wouldn't you? Because survival doesn't always feel like victory, I admitted. Sometimes it just feels like existing. Emily tilted her head. And yet you're still standing. That's more than most could say. I looked back out at the skyline. Funny. I used to think winning meant taking everything back from them, destroying them the way they destroyed me. But now, they're gone. Daniel's disgrace, Sophia's regret, shadows. Her voice was gentle. And you're still here? I nodded. Yes, I'm still here. Silence lingered, broken only by the hum of the city. Then I said, you know what hurts the most? Not what they did, but how much of myself I lost trying to prove I didn't need them. Emily's eyes softened. You didn't lose yourself. You rebuilt yourself. There's a difference. Her words settled deep. Maybe that's true. Maybe survival isn't about holding on, it's about letting go. Exactly, she said. You're free now. So what do you want to build with that freedom? I let the question hang in the air, my reflection staring back at me in the glass. A life that's mine, not defined by betrayal, not chained to the past. Something new. Emily smiled faintly. Sounds like a beginning. A beginning, I repeated. The word felt right. She tapped the desk. Then stop staring at the city like it owes you something. Go claim what's already yours. I laughed. You always know how to end a conversation. It's a gift, she said, heading toward the door. Good night, boss. Good night, Emily. When she was gone, I turned back to the city one last time. The pain was still there, faint scars that would never fully vanish. But it no longer owned me. Goodbye, Sophia. Goodbye, Daniel. I whispered into the glass. You're nothing but shadows now. And then I smiled, not because I had destroyed them, not because I had proven them wrong, but because I had survived. Because this was my new beginning.